So DirecTV sends you a box when you have canceled the services. They send a box with a foam cube in a very interesting looking box with foams. Now, they give you steps here on how to return the equipment after you cancel your services. And directions can be a little bit confusing, so I just thought I'd do this video to help others out there who are struggling as well understanding what the heck they're talking about. So the first instruction is remove the insert with this printed instruction that does absolutely nothing. It says place all of the Genie and Genie Mini products inside slotted openings as needed. When they say that, they mean go ahead and look at this foam cube that you get and place in here all the equipment. So I have, for my household, I had the big DirecTV equipment and one in the master bedroom, which is a tiny, so they mean this mini. So I placed the mini right here. In this little box, I placed the control remotes, both of them, and I removed the batteries because it later tells you that. And then in the next compartments, I put all the cables. So placing this box back here, and just to be paranoid because I don't need to be charged with odd fees, I'm also including this cable that was part of the installation. It has a more high-tech ending than just a regular white cable to connect the Ethernet, I guess. So I'm gonna go ahead and place this just on top. Not inside the holes because the cavities in there are already pretty full, and it's a cable that really won't get damaged anyway. So that's that. Then we move on to step number 3. It says place power supplies and accessories and remote control in open areas as shown. So we already did that. Do not include batteries with the remote control. So I removed the batteries. Now place top dot insert back and carton on top of the lower insert. My goodness, did you know that it took me forever to realize that the top dot insert was referring to this square that has dots? For some reason, I was looking for a piece of paper insert that had a dot or something like that. But anyway, maybe it's just me. So I placed the DirecTV equipment on top of the dots, and I'm closing them, and like so. So I also, I also received a little tape thing like this that I'm gonna go ahead and use to close the lid on this box. So the little strip, I'm gonna go ahead and just remove this little paper here. So I'm removing that, and you get pretty much a long piece of tape, which I will use to kind of secure the box here. I'm putting now the tape on top. It's a little challenging to hold the camera and do this at the same time. Oh, it's not going to be enough tape, so I'm going to add a little bit more later, but I'm going to go ahead and tape this like that so that it's holding, so that it's holding the equipment like so. And then I'm going to add another piece of tape here before sending that. That's optional. I just like to be paranoid because I just want to avoid fees. Now, when adding the tape, you don't want to get too crazy and add too much tape, because that'll do is it will add weight to the box. And the shipping label that they pre-made typically has instructions on a limited amount of weight. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but to be sure and not have any problems, I'm only going to use this regular tape and just put a little strip here, very tiny, just to secure it. And I mean, it's going to go inside the bigger box anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Once I've placed the piece of tape here, I'm ready to put this box with the equipment inside the bigger box. And before I wrap this up by telling you the last instructions, after we put that here, I will show you on the outside box, the prepaid return label was actually underneath the original shipping label. So you will be able to see that. Now, it tells you here, if you look under the second instruction on step 2, to reference back of the label to ensure that the models that you're returning match what they have in their in their records. And then you're gonna close and seal with tape provided, which, by the way, the tape provided, that was, if you guys remember, the one that I put from here to here. There's no way that's going to be sufficient to seal a box. So I have opted to use that to seal this box instead, the tiny one, not the bigger one. Now, in the old shipping label, when you turn it on the back, just like it tells you here, to make sure that the models of the equipment, the model number and all that stuff match, you'll see here that it's very blurry, and there's absolutely no way you can really see what the SQ number or any of that is. So there's no way that you'll be able to match. Now, maybe once you turn it around, for you it will show. For me, it's a little blurry, and some of those numbers I try to see if I could read them, and I try matching it, seeing if it matches, and they don't really match to anything. My thinking is that they no longer really do that, and maybe that's something they used to do, but you know, since I'm sure they make this labels in a bulk, it's probably already too blurry and they don't care. Just make sure you put all your equipment from DirecTV and you should be fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and now place this on top of the yellow box. I mean the yellow box, the cube white box. Alrighty. Okay, so here is the foam with the larger cable that I placed in there just to be safe. And then I'm gonna go ahead and place this larger thing. Now it doesn't fit, so I mean it does, but it just looks way bulky. I'm gonna go ahead and play a little bit with it and see if I can get it to fit better. Okay, so what I've realized is that my creative idea of placing this larger cable on top, because there was no room, was what was propping the bigger box too high and not allowing for this to seal. So what I've done instead is I put the larger cable around the box so it doesn't create any buffer. And you know, these little pockets are very limited. I've seen out there that some people would break these apart. I don't think that's really necessary, and if you feel that you need another one of these, I would call DirecTV and ask them to send you the proper equipment, or maybe they're gonna send you another box, a second box, if you have that much equipment to return. But now that that's flat, this box will just slide right into there with no problem. Right now it looks like a problem because I'm holding the camera, but see, and now it just, well, it's really fine. It's, you know, there's definitely, it wasn't as propped up as before. So we can go ahead and close this up, and Alright, and we are to the end line here, guys. So now everything is inside. Originally, the outside of the box came here and it said important information here. So I broke this plastic not very nicely. I mean, I should have been more careful, but I didn't do anything. So anyway, in that little pocket or pouch came this DirecTV paper with what should have been the instructions in the back, but the instructions are really to go inside and look at the instructions inside the box, which, okay, thank you for that. Anyway, and again, you'll see another where it says, before you pack your receivers, please reference the shipping label to ensure it matches the receiver ID and model information. And again, that was the information that I found up here that I'll go over in a minute. So once you remove the information here, I tried to just nicely take out just part of the paper. I was going to send it out there, but I realized that this is kind of like a sticker, so we can get rid of that. I usually get rid of any stickers around. This little sticker has the address, so you can just remove that too, because you don't want to confuse the USPS with multiple addresses. It's just something that I've learned with return boxes. Now I'll remove this before closing it up. Up here, I thought this was really handy. I don't know why I haven't seen this before, but basically what it had on top was a little thing that says tear here, which I did. And when I did, I tear this whole thing, and you now see the returning label, which is really great that it goes ahead and tells you that. So I went ahead and do that. Don't get too paranoid like I did about removing this thing, because it's not going to damage. It's designed so that it doesn't really damage. You just got to be careful more here on the sides to make sure it doesn't tear here, but it won't. You can go from here and try to tear it all, starting from here, and tear the whole frame if you want, but that's just gonna damage the box, and damaging the box, it can make a hole, and then you're now having to get a new box, which we don't want. So what I did is I tore here the little bit of the barcodes, so that if they do need to scan something, they don't scan an old barcode that came from the prior shipping, because again, I don't want this box to come back to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and just remove this plastic and then wrap it up by using a handy tape, which is, you know, this one, to seal this here. Now the instruction says that I can go ahead and do that with the one that they provided, which was, as you may recall, this little piece of paper, which is not really going to be enough to do this. I like to go and do it twice. So I'll go ahead and remove that plastic and then show you guys how I tape it and move on. So I'm going ahead and ripping this. Now make sure you do it carefully, because see, if you tear it too deep, it can make this, it can really damage this and not be usable, which is what I was talking about when I talked about tearing this one. So you just kind of just tear it off, no big deal. See, this one is stuck to the tape, so I'm just gonna grab my scissors and move this away. And before I do the final seal, I usually like to tape this inside a little bit. Now, I'm not going to do too much because I don't want it to grab onto the actual equipment box. So I'm just going to give it a few, just a few little tapes things here. I've go ahead and put the tape that I mentioned, and I'm just going to do it here. I'm not doing it too close to this because I don't necessarily want to tape it to the actual box. I just want to, just a little bit of security that this is not going to open up on its way there, because, you know, it has equipment, and again, I'm not wanting to pay any damage fees or anything like that. So I'm going to just use my scissors right now because I'm holding the camera with my other hand. And there we go. Okay, so that closed it. I've placed the larger tape here, starting from here, you know, a little bit, not all the way down necessarily, but, you know, a good ways to make sure that it's closed right. And for this, I do want it to really close. And I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I do this. Put it kind of halfway there. Really sealed. And you know, again, I just like to be extra secure. And what I'm going to do is cut a piece of tape, which you can do it with a machine too, and just kind of place it right here just to seal it. You know, again, I'm not trying to have this thing open up in transit, and repeat the same process in where I'm just gonna hold here halfway out. Now again, sorry that it looks a little messy. I'm just holding the camera with the other hand. And one more sealed here and send it off to the USPS, and off we go. Thank you so much. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will be opening, hopefully very soon, more packages and showing you guys how to open and pack weird items that you find either online or Amazon, or items to return once some services are canceled. Hopefully this makes it a lot easier for everyone here to send back your equipment. Alright, thanks and happy shipping.